Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Reen Wilcoxon, owner of Embroidery Garden, and this is my October demo. So I see a lot of people joining. I got Deborah here, Darlene. I saw Sue. We got Rose. We got quite a few people coming in today. So I'm in Indiana and I own Embroidery Garden and I do a demo every month. So if you follow me on Facebook or are a member of my in the Hoop Facebook group, you will be getting notices, that when I start planning my next demo. Today, I'm going to be showing you a brand new frame from Durkee Hoops called the EZ name frame. And it's a frame that, it's great for putting names on things like webbing and ribbon and sashes and things like that. But I took it one step further. And as soon as I saw the frame, I thought, I'm going to stitch end-to-end designs. And we're going to get into that in just a little bit. But let's look at, see who's here. I see Terry's here. You got your frame already. That's great. You can get the frame from durkeehoops.com. Karen can put a link up to that. And if you use the discount code REEN, REEN, you'll get a discount on the frame. So be sure to use that if you order the frame. And we're going to talk about the frame. First, we're going to go over some things I have upcoming. Then we are going to look at some samples of things that I've made. Then I'm going to show you some of the supplies that I use making these various things. And then I'm going to actually get into the frame and actually embroider something. And we're going to stitch a repeat, and then we're going to line up the next repeat for that and stitch it out. So who's excited about that? I see a lot of people are starting to put in the comment #garden. You see it in the bottom of the screen. If you type that in just like it is, at the end of this demo, I will choose one of the names. There's a program running behind this live that gathers up everyone's name who types in #garden, and you're going to get a $20 gift card to embroiderygarden.com. So you only need to type it in once. In fact, if you type it in multiple times, it kicks all of those out. So I see a lot of people here. Hi, Cindy. Glad to see that you're here today. And Phil Beck. A lot of people coming in. So thank you. So let's talk about what I've got coming up. So I'm going to go ahead. Whoops. Sorry, Carrie. Go ahead. So what's new? If you follow me, you know that on Thursday, my friends at Dime and I, we released hoop and press pads for Dime's Snap Hoop Monsters. And I'm going to show you some right here. This is the pack. This one is actually a bundle that's for the Solaris or the Luminaire. The hoop and press pads, of course, we've had them for the traditional machine embroidery hoops for, I think it's going on at least 2 years now. And so we just came out with hoop and press pads that fit all of Designs and Machine Embroidery's Snap Hoop Monsters. And when you get these Snap Hoop Monster pads, you get these stable clips, what they're calling stable clips. And if you watched the live that I did with Ashley on Dime's Facebook page on Thursday, you can see how these clips work, and you can see the pads actually in action. There's also a short little video on Embroidery Garden's Facebook page about that. But we now have pads for Snap Hoop Monsters. So make sure that you check those out. And they are all on sale. The traditional hoop and press pads and the pads for Snap Hoop Monsters are on sale. So the next thing I've got coming up is, whoops, sorry, Karen. You can go ahead and go back. On Halloween, next Thursday, I'm going to be live with Sewing Machines Plus, and we're going to be doing a Halloween special. Blaine and I are going to be on, and we're going to have a Halloween show. It's going to be on sewingmachineplus.com's Facebook page and on their YouTube channel. I'll have direct links on my page for that early next week. But what we're going to do is I came up with a Halloween design bundle that is only going to be sold through soymachinesplus.com. So watch that show. Should be a lot of fun. Blaine has always got giveaways, and it's always a great time. So the next thing I've got coming up is a virtual class from Caroline. And this is going to be the last clothesline bowl of Caroline's for this year. So if you want to be able to make one of these really great bowls with these new round wooden inserts that Caroline is using, you need to sign up for this class. It's going to be on November 12th at 11 a.m. Central. You get to watch the video for, we leave it up for a week for you to have access to it. Caroline has a lot of new rounds, these wooden round inserts, and you can use any of them for this class. She's got the give thanks that's showing here on the screen, the pumpkins. She also has poinsettia for Christmas. She has a nativity. She has a Christmas tree. So she's got some holiday ones too. So get signed up for that class. Then after that, the next thing that is up is on November 14th. I am hosting one of Designs and Machine Embroidery's free virtual events. This one focuses around their new inspiration software called Special Effects. With this software, literally in a click of a button, you can apply different effects to your machine embroidery, which include plaid, 3D foam, fringe, embossing, chenille, ombre, and there are others. So it's free. Come and join us. You do need to register for this, and Karen will get that link up for you to register. This is what you will get an email so that you can get the special link to watch and special discount codes for the products that are going to be sold there. So be sure to get signed up for that. It is on the 14th. After that, we have Embroidery Garden's annual Favorite Things. This is my big giveaway show. It is the event that a lot of people wait all year for. I give away thousands of dollars of merchandise. This is going to be, I believe this is my 9th year doing this. It's a big show, lasts a couple of hours. Right now, you can, there's a link that you can click on. It goes to a page on my website that is just starting to put out the information. I'm just starting to get sponsors. In the next few weeks, I'll have a lot more. People who have watched this annually know that, there's machines given away. There's gift cards given away. There are scissors, notions, all kinds of things that I give away during this. So be sure to click on the link to go to the page where you can also sign up to get an email. It'll be one email sent to you that will be sent like probably 3 days before the event that reminds you to watch the event and gives you the link to watch on Facebook or on YouTube. And you can also add it to your own personal calendar from this page. And of course, I will be putting up more information about this on Embroidery Garden's Facebook page and all my other social media. Let's see, what do I got coming up after that? In February, I'm going to California. I will be at Soy Machines Plus at their San Marcos location in person doing a live event. Blaine is calling this Stitch and Switch. He's going to be having top of the line machines from 6 different companies there. And what you're going to do is you're going to stitch a project on one of these machines, then you're going to switch to another brand of machine. So you're going to get to test drive 6 different top of the line machines and stitch some of my in the hoop machine embroidery designs. I'll be there guiding you through the projects. There will be all kinds of giveaways. You're going to get lunch, you're going to get kits. And there are 2 sessions. You can sign up for one or the other. So February 12th or 13th is one session. Then February 14th and 15th is the next session. So be sure to sign up if you're interested. I already know that there are people coming from all over the country to this event to San Marcos. So I'm very excited about it. So if you want to come, get in on this. And then the last thing I believe that is coming up is the cruise. We're doing another cruise. This one is on May 24th. It leaves out of Galveston, Texas, and returns back on June 1st. This cruise is with Amy Bachman's Sew and Quilt. It is through Sew and Sail, which does a lot of the big machine embroidery cruises. This one is called Spectacular at Sea. So they've kind of come up with a new idea, which I really love. This is more of a round robin type of a cruise. There are going to be multiple classrooms, multiple educators. Amy Bachman will be teaching. I'll be teaching. Stephanie Young from Caesar will be teaching. Becky Thompson, Power Tools with Thread. Designs by Juju. Julie is going to be there. Two Chicks Quilting is going to be there. And there's going to be more. So if you're interested in this cruise, you need to call Jamie. He's with Sew and Sail, and the number is 401-310-0011 for more information and to book this cruise. It's going to be a blast. I can't wait. We're going to be sailing through the Caribbean. And it's going to be the time of year when, a lot of parts of the country, you're going to want to get out into some warm weather and have a great vacation. All right. So I see, yeah, Suzette says an awesome cruise. Yes, it's going to be. All right. So let's get into a little bit of what we're doing. If you follow me on Facebook, you've probably seen my post of various purse straps, dog leashes, what else have I created? Phone lanyards, all these other things that I've created with Durkee Hoops' new easy name frame. So first, we're going to take a look at some of the samples that I made. Then I'm going to show you like some of the products, supplies that I use to make those. Then we're going to actually look at the frame, and we're actually going to stitch with it. So let's take a look at some of the projects that I made using Durkee's new easy name frame. So the name implies that you can stitch names on things like webbing, belts, anything basically that's going to be straight like this. As soon as I saw the hoop though, or the frame, I thought immediately of doing designs end to end. So these are a couple of dog leashes that I made. And I used designs from my garden. I'm sorry, they are designs from my hand-sketched floral borders collection. This is a collection with Dime, Designs and Machine Embroidery, that we both came out with. And I'm going to show you a little bit of it here in a moment, but these designs are light and airy, and they're perfect for stitching on this webbing, this name tape that I've been using, and other things because they are light and airy. So these are dog leashes, and you might think, oh, well, you don't have a very big hook on there or clip on there, but we have miniature dachshunds. They're about 10 pounds each. So I didn't really need to put one of those really big leash hooks on there. Of course, if you have a big dog like a lab or something, you're going to want to use, a larger hook. These leashes that I made, they're about 60 inches long. And again, this is one of the designs from my hand sketch floral borders collection. And when you look at this, you can't even tell where I added the next repeat. And this is what's great about the Durkee Easy name frame. It's really going to help you line this up and keep everything nice and straight. So for this, I use name tape. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But I backed it with nylon webbing that basically, I bought this at Joann's. This is 1 inch. And I backed it so that you couldn't see the, stitching on the back side. They've got little handles, that we can hold. And this is another design out of that collection. the hand sketched floral borders. And again, as you look through it, you can't even tell where I added the next repeat. So it was great to do these dog leashes. I see Anne wants to make one. And I also did purse straps. So let me get out a couple of the purse straps that I created. Grab the other one here. Now this one I did on cork. And how I did this was I cut a piece of cork 3 inches wide. And there are guides on the frame for anything up to 5 inches. And we're going to talk about that in a moment. But this is just a basic purse strap that I made. Here are the hooks to hook on to the bag. This one I didn't make adjustable, but this other one I did. We'll look at it in a moment. And after I embroidered this on the 3-inch wide strip, I embroidered this design down the center. I folded under one edge, folded under the other edge so that this measures 1 inch. And then I just stitched along both sides and made a purse strap. And I see Terry's asking what I use for the dog leashes. We're going to go over that here in just a moment. So that was one purse strap. And I made this bag. And again, this is a design out of the hand sketched floral border set, which we'll look at in a moment because it does include corners. And these are 2 corners out of the set. I enlarged them in the software and stitched them on this bag. And on this one, I put the matching design on the purse strap. This one is adjustable. But again, you can't tell where I started one repeat and ended the next repeat. So for me, I think these purse straps are great because I don't make one strap for each purse. If you make something that, say, is black or white or a color that goes with anything and use colors that basically go with anything, I can take this off of this purse and use it on another purse. So purse straps are great to do with the easy name frame. You guys might have seen me post this. I believe yesterday I posted this. This is a karate belt. And, I put a name on it. I will admit, I don't know the etiquette of embroidering on a karate belt. So I just added a name on here. One thing you're going to see that is really great about the easy name frame is I'm not going to use any stabilizer. Here's the back side. And, it looks as nice as the front. You don't see any stabilizer bits because you don't use stabilizer when you use the easy name frame. And I think that just turned out really, really nice. So that's another idea, karate belts. Lisa, that bag design was from my Anna Lee purse collection. And let me grab out a few more samples here. So this is a belt, and it's, one of those belts made out of webbing. So this is something you could embroider on. Lettering. You could put a design all the way around it. I think that would be great. This one, here's the back side of it. Looks pretty good. Same as the front. Something on a belt. It's going around your body, so you really don't have to do anything to finish off the back side. And I see Cindy's asking, did I turn the trim off? No. I'll show you exactly how I did it here soon. Would this be a good frame to connect a wrought iron fence design I have? Possibly. The designs are going to have to be a certain size, and we'll talk about that in a moment here. This is just a key fob that I made. I had a leftover piece. I believe this was from one of the leashes or something that I made. And, I added again the nylon webbing to the back to hide the stitches on the back side, and just added a piece of key fob hardware. And now I have a beautiful key fob. Couple more things, and then that'll be all of my samples. Again, if you follow me on Facebook, and I'm going to show you a photo here in just a moment of these and how they work. These are phone lanyards. So this is worn. Let me get it where you can see the bottom of it here. This is worn crossbody style. I made it adjustable. And you hook it together down here. I did not bring the thing that hooks my phone to it, but then you hook your phone to the bottom of it and you can wear this crossbody. On this one, I added this little D-ring here and I put my sunglasses in there. I'm going to show you pictures of how this actually looks when you're wearing it. But again, on this one, what I did to cover up the back, I just added another piece of this webbing. And we're going to talk about these supplies in just a moment. This is another crossbody phone lanyard that I made using a different design. This one, I added black on the back. I think it's kind of neat to, use a different color. I didn't have to use the gray on the back. I used black, and I don't know, I think it kind of makes it different and makes it nice. And then I added these pieces. This is just marine vinyl to end the webbing because this is cotton webbing. And again, we're going to talk about that in just a moment. So how did you like those samples? Pretty cool stuff, huh? If anyone has any questions about the samples, let me know. But what I want to do is I want to bring up a couple of pictures about that crossbody lanyard that I just showed you. So I got to bring those pictures up. Okay, now here's the picture of me wearing the crossbody lanyard. And you see I've got my sunglasses on here. Just kind of remember that for just a second. And my phone is connected here at the bottom. The strap is adjustable. Let me bring up the next one. And let's see. I think I have to close this out so I can bring up the next one. And then now the next one is going to show. Oh, yeah, here it is. Okay, so this is me wearing it, and I don't have my sunglasses on in this one because I used that little D-ring and I put the earpiece of the sunglasses in it, and now it holds my sunglasses for me. I'm also going to create a small little zipper bag, very, really small, maybe to hold a couple of credit cards and some folded money that I could hook to that D-ring also. And then the last picture is going to show you a little bit closer view of how the phone is attached. So in this one, you can see there's a little piece down here at the bottom of the phone that it goes inside your case. And there's this little tiny D-ring in there. And that's what hooks to the swivel hooks. And yeah, for this project, excuse me, for this project, what I'm thinking of doing is doing either a demo or an online class for this because it's just really a cute idea. They're kind of all the rage right now. And, I can give you sources for all of this stuff that I used on that. And I saw Dolores just asked if we're going to be having a class on it. If you guys want a class on this, comment that you want a class on it. And I'm probably going to get together with another digitizer or a store owner, and we can do some kind of a virtual thing on this if this is what you guys would like. Yeah, okay. I see a lot of people saying yes, commenting yes. So probably going to do that. All right, so let's look at some of the supplies more closely that I used in some of the samples that I just showed you. So let me grab some stuff here. Okay, so for the dog leash, I used name tape. So you're probably wondering, what is name tape? Name tape, basically this is military name tape. It's a twill. And it looks like how they make it. There's something in here. I don't want to call it stabilizer. I'm not sure what it is, but it's still very pliable. And that's what you want. You want something very pliable for these projects. But then it looks like they took the two edges and folded it to the back and pressed it. And now this is fused down. Again, this is twill, very, very nice to embroider on. This, it's not like it's readily available. You can Google military name tape and look for it on a roll. It comes, oh, I think there's at least 120 yards on a roll. So basically what this stuff is used for is for uniforms. You would embroider, the person's name or their rank or something on here, and then, stitch it down onto their uniform. But this stuff is great for, making the dog leashes, the purse straps, and anything else. It is pricey. You'll see, I can't remember how much it was, but it is pricey. But what you have to remember is if you get a roll that is like at least 120 yards on it, then a purse strap, you're going to use probably, let's say, between 55 and 60 inches for an adjustable purse strap. So when you divide it all up and see how many purse straps or dog leashes, etc., that you get out of it, it really ends up being very inexpensive. So I use this on some of the purse straps and and on the dog leashes, actually. Now this is webbing, nylon webbing that I got at Joann's, one of the big box stores. You can embroider directly on this. When you choose things that you want to embroider on, you're going to have to cover the back side because you don't want there to be any, stitching to be seen. So that's what I used on the back of the dog leashes and my purse straps. I just used this basically because it's the same size, the same width. It looks nice and it still keeps this very pliable. You don't want a purse strap that's so stiff that it's not going to drape around your shoulder or, come around you in a crossbody style. You want something that's still going to be nice and pliable. You could make purse straps out of two pieces of this, embroider on one of them, and then, take another piece. This comes in all colors, either use the same color, different color, and then you would just put them together, stitch down both long edges, and then that's how you hide your stitching on the back side. So this is all 1 inch. All of this stuff is 1 inch. This is cotton webbing. I ordered some from Sally Tomato, and I got some at Hobby Lobby. Now, this is cotton webbing, but this is still thin. Let's look at the edge of it. See how thin this is? Now, I have some other cotton webbing, and I don't know if you could tell the difference in the thickness on the edge, but this is thicker. Okay, you can still use it. It's not the really, really thick type. I'm going to try to get this so you can see it a little bit closer up. So you can kind of see how thick that is compared to, how thin this is. It's kind of hard to see, but this one is thinner. This is what I use to make the crossbody lanyards for the phone. And again, I put this on the back side to cover up the stitching on the back. I know there is some of this cotton webbing that is really thick, and I probably would not use that. So this is cotton. This is cotton, just thinner, and this is nylon webbing. These are all nylon. So you can use a variety of things to make the projects that I just showed you. So again, after you embroidered on one piece, you would put something behind it, another piece, a different color, same color, and then just stitch down the edges on both sides. And basically that's how I created a purse strap. And then, at the end, of course, you have to, add your hardware, turn it under and finish it off. But those are the type of projects that we can talk about later on. So now, if there aren't any questions about the supplies, let's look. The black strapping was nylon. This is name tape. This is nylon. And these are cotton. So if you go to the store and just start looking over in, that department, you will, see a lot of different things that you can use. So hold on one second. I'm getting out the easy name frames, and we're going to look at these. So this is Durkee's new easy name frame, and there are two of them. One is for, your regular home machine, single needle flatbed machine, and then there is one for multi-needle. Now these at this time are only for brother or baby lock machines, and they have to be a brother or baby lock machine that can use a 5x7 hoop, because these are basically 5x7. So this one, you would need the blue arm adapter. Durkee sells the blue arm adapter so that this could go onto your multi-needle like that. You would attach it to the adapter using these two notches and then use it on your multi-needle. This one, it just slides onto your machine and you're ready to use it. They come with two sets of guides. Now, the first set of guides I have on here, and these come off. You just unscrew these little bolts. And I'm going to take this one completely off so you can get a good look at it. So this guide, you see these notches. This is what is going to hold your ribbon, your name tape, your webbing, whatever, in perfectly straight. There's another one at the other end. It has the exact same notches here, these guides. This is for 1 inch, and this is 1 1/4 inch. It comes with another set of guides. So this one would go like this up here at the top. This one would come down here at this end. These do not have guides, but they have markings on them. And I want you to see these markings kind of up close here. So the markings, there you can see them. The markings go from 5 inches and down. So wherever you want to line up, whatever width of ribbon or strapping, webbing you're using, you have guides that you can line it up. So when we put this on the frame and we put our webbing, strapping in, you would line up, on this end here, whichever guides you were going to use for the width of what you're embroidering on, with the exact same guides on this end. And we're going to be doing that in just a moment. What I want to do now, I'm just going to, this one also for the multi-needle comes with those exact same guides. I'm going to move this one out of the way for now because I'm going to be using the one for my home machine. Again, brother baby lock machine that has a 5x7 hoop capability. So I'm not going to be using these guides today because I'm going to show you embroidering on the 1 inch, and let me find where I put it, the 1 inch name tape. That's what we're going to be embroidering on. They're not just for webbing or strapping. I showed a sample. There was a belt. There was a karate belt. There was another type of just a decorative belt to wear. It has to be, basically, it's going to be something that's going to be in a strip or, what I want to say, a long rectangle to embroider on. You can embroider on sashes. You can embroider on, if you wanted to embroider on a piece of fabric, that could be doable. We are not using stabilizer. Okay, so that's something to kind of remember. And you're going to see me do this, and we do not use any stabilizer when we do it. So the type of designs you want to use, I see a bunch of questions coming in. So can you use a 4 to 5 inch strip of fabric? 5 inches is the maximum you can use. If you want to do fabric, again, we're not using stabilizer. Okay. So you're going to have to make some choices on some stuff. I see a question. How would you prepare ribbon? You're going to see what I'm going to do. I'm not preparing it in any way. I'm just going to use it. Okay. The type of designs you want to use. This is going to be important. The reason I use my designs from my hand sketch floral collection is because they are light, they are airy. You are not going to want to use designs that are very dense. You don't want to use really dense designs. If you use something dense on like this nylon webbing here, it's going to pull in the sides, and your webbing is going to get misshapen. So you're going to have to choose designs. You can do lettering. If you go to Durkee Hoops website, durkeehoops.com, you'll see some examples of lettering done on webbing and strapping, etc. The thing was, when I saw this hoop, I wanted to do design stitched end to end. Now, I could, let's see, let me grab one of these other samples again, like the dog leash. So if I wanted to put our dog's name, I could have put Lily here and then put, my flowers on there. So, Brent designed these really to do names, to do designs, to be end to end. But you are stitching on something like strapping, belting, webbing, name tape, sashes, those types of things. Right, Lisa, it will get all wonky if you use something really dense. And you also notice this is 1.5 inch wide. My design is about 1 point, I think I did this one at 1.2. So I'm using wide, I'm making my designs wide just because I like that look. What I want to do now, before I, put the name tape, show you how to get it on here and lined up, I have a little video that I did. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to play this little video showing you the designs from my hand sketched floral collection. Let's take a look at the hand sketched floral borders collection. Go ahead and open it up. Inside the collection, you are going to get 25 full border designs. You can put a monogram in them, a design inside, but you can stitch out the entire frame at one time. It's also broken into corner designs and border designs. The border designs are the ones that I'm using to embroider end to end. So you can see there's like 25 of them. I'm going to drop down and let's grab this one. I've stitched this one a few times. And let's just look and see how big it is. If we go to the right-hand side under the transform button, you can see that it is 0.84 inches wide by 4.49 inches high. So if I'm going to stitch this on something that is 1.5 inches wide, I might want to widen this a little bit. I think I widened it to 1.2. Click apply, and now that increases the height to 6.42. Again, 6.5 is probably the maximum you want to create a design for. If I was going to stitch this on 1 inch wide webbing, I would want the width to be something around 3.7. And if I change it to 0.7, that's going to change the height to 3.75. Take a look at some of the other ones that I've done. This is one of the dog leashes. This was done on 1-inch webbing. This border is the one that I did on cork for the purse strap. It's also 1 inch. This one was 1.5 inch. Here's another one that I sized to 1.5 inch. And another one, I haven't stitched this one out yet. But again, there are like 25 different border designs that you can use. There are also elements that are in a folder called parts. And if we open this up, you can see there are just small bits and pieces, like a single flower. Here's a leaf, another leaf, a different style, another little flower, a little swirl. You can take any of these designs and, bring them in, line them up, and use them to create something unique. So basically, that's the Floral Borders collection, and those are the border designs that I've been using. All right, so that software that I was using is Dimes software. This is a collection that I did with Designs and Machine Embroidery. And when you purchase the set, the hand sketch floral borders, you get the native format, which is C2S. You also get, any other format that you want for your machine, PES, JEF, HUS, whatever you use. But the C2S format is important because you can take that format, open it up in any Dime software, and you can change the size of the designs. Because remember, if you're one of the pieces is, I don't know, 1.3 inches wide and you want to stitch it on 1-inch ribbon, you're going to have to make it, narrower, and it's going to resize it perfectly. And, again, you're going to want to use designs that aren't real dense. And I saw some questions about lettering and, density and stuff. One thing, you're going to have to just do a little test stitch too. It's going to depend on, did you create the font? Did you buy the font? Is the font, does it have a ton of underlay? Was it meant to be used for, this in particular or that in particular? So you're going to kind of make some choices, about some stuff. You'd always do a test to see how, everything works out. So are there any other questions before I load up this frame and we start to embroider something? Let's see. Looking at a few things. If there aren't any questions, Karen, then I'm going to go ahead and put the name tape is what I'm going to embroider on, and I'm going to get the name tape loaded up. So again, this is 1 inch. This is the name tape. It would not matter if I was using that nylon or whatever I was using. This is 1 inch, so I'm going to be using the 1-inch guide here. So again, there are 4 screws, and you can loosen the screws on both ends. Sure you can see that. Now, it also, these guides kind of will swing off, so you can help to, it swings off on one end. This other end, unless you take off this bolt or this nut, it won't come off. So I'm going to load it from the top of the hoop because this is how it hooks onto my machine. Because after I get done embroidering one of the repeats, I'm basically going to advance my ribbon down and stitch the next repeat. I'm not going to take it off my machine. We're going to talk about all that though in a second. So someone asked about where did I get the name tape from? I had name tape and I started using it. You can Google for military name tape. Again, I talked about it earlier. You can kind of go back and, look at or watch some of that part of the demo. So it's going to come up over the frame. Then it's going to go down between these two pieces. Let me just get this part on there. I haven't tightened this up yet. I'm going to pull it down, and this time, let me kind of get this out of the way for you. I'm going to come up through these two bars here, and it's going to go under, goes under the guide. All right, now that I have it in there, I'm going to adjust it a little bit. Let me turn it this way so you can kind of see the whole frame. So I'm just going to kind of adjust it a little bit. You do have to have, something sticking out down here. You can't, embroider right at the very end. This is kind of what is going to hold this in place. So I don't know, I might have 1.5 inches sticking out. I like to tighten up this bottom one first. This will be the one that's closest to me. I'm making sure that it is in between these two guides. So let me just see, I had it underneath there a little bit. And when you tighten up these screws, you want to make sure that the guide and the bar, the blue bar here, that everything is together, okay, that it's all even. And then I'm just going to start to tighten down these screws. I'm not tightening them down really hard right now. I'm just kind of getting this end done so I can work on this next end. I'm going to pull my belting, my strapping, my webbing, whatever you're using. I don't want to pull it really hard, but I do want to make sure that, I don't want it like loose in here like this. I want it nice and taut. Once I get it like that, again, I'm going to make sure that the guide and the blue bar here align, hold it in place, and then just start to get these bolts, nuts tightened down. Once I have everything nice and straight here, I'm going to tighten them a little bit more. And now I'm ready to go to the machine. All right, I've already got my design pulled up. And one thing, let's go back because I wanted to show you one more thing on this frame. There are notches. There's a notch here. You can see the notch at the top. There are side notches. These all mark the center both ways. Again, this is the part that it slides onto the machine. On the back side here, Brent has added a piece of some type of material, and this prevents it, any scratches on your machine. And again, this is 5x7, and we're going to talk about this because this is an aftermarket frame. And what does aftermarket mean? Aftermarket means this frame was not manufactured or made by your sewing machine company. This is a third-party frame, just like any frame that you buy that does not come with your machine or is not sold by your brand's machine, company. It's an aftermarket frame. It will be recognized by your machine, but you are always going to want to do a trace on the inside with your machine so that you know that your foot is nowhere near any of the sides of the frame. So now let's go over to the machine. All right, I'm going to put my excess, webbing, name tape, whatever, behind the machine. And now I'm going to slide it on. Since you have these, bolts here, you're going to, of course, slide it over this, lower area. And now I'm going to get it into the arm of my machine over here, slide it up, lock it down. Now I've already loaded one of the designs. One thing let's talk about too, there are different ways to line up the design. And let's go back to the table for a second. So you can use templates. You can print out a template. This is that karate belt that I did. Let me grab it for 1 second here. So you can either use a template to line up your design. This template is printed. It's got the crosshairs, the cross marks. So you would line up the needle with the center and embroider it. These are templates I printed. This was one of the 1.5-inch templates, and this is one of the 1-inch templates. Now, here's a little tip for you. So if you are printing out a template and it's specifics to a size of webbing that you're using, again, this is 1.5, this is 1 inch. When I printed it, I know this is my center. And if this is 1.5 inches wide, I took my ruler and measured out 1/2 inch this way, trimmed it off, and I measured out 1/2 inch this way and trimmed it off. This is one of my 1-inch wide templates. So I took my center mark, I measured over 1/2 inch, trimmed it, measured over 1/2 inch here and trimmed it. So now when I go to lay my template down, it's the exact size, it's the same width. And this is important because now when I had this on my machine, I know exactly where the center of my ribbon is, coming down this way. And again, I did the same thing when I did the belt. It makes it so much easier. All right, I moved my camera out a little bit. And let me kind of get it up a little bit. All right, so now, oh, it moved again. Can't wait till my new camera comes today with my new boom. All right, I have my design loaded. And if I were using templates, I could put my template on here, where I wanted to start. Again, you do not want to be right up against the edge of the frame here. You want to make sure that, I'm going to put mine at least about 1 inch up. Then I can use, the buttons on my machine, and I went too far that time, but, I could use my buttons like this and line it up. We've all done that to line things up. You're going to line the needle up with the center mark there on the template. I am fortunate enough, my machine has a projector on it, and I'm going to use the projector. Now, the first one that you put, the first repeat that you put, you really don't have to do much lining up other than right to left. And I'm trying to see which one is going to look the best so you can see it. Oh, I think that's going to be the best view. So you can see my design. I'm too far over to the left. I'm going to use my arrows, and I'm going to move it to the center. Now, even if I use my projector and I can see exactly where my design is going to stitch right there, I could still come in with my template, and let me just kind of line up somewhere, my template, and make sure that it's lined up right. Now I want to check with my projector where it's coming at the bottom, and my design stops right here, and it's probably about 1 inch from the frame. When I'm happy with it here, I am going to just check everything just to make sure, just to make sure that it's still going nice and straight as it goes up. Again, with this first one, I don't have to worry about placement up and down. I'm worried more about the placement going across to make sure it is centered on the ribbon. When you use an aftermarket frame, you always want to do a trace. So I'm going to let my machine do a trace. And, of course, I don't have to worry about, the sides. It's the top and the bottom. So right now, this is where my design is going to end. And I probably have at least 2 inches back here. So I'm good. Let's see how we are coming at the other end. I've got at least an inch here. So I know that I'm good. But whenever you do use an aftermarket frame, make sure that you do a trace. Okay, it's very, very important. So now that I'm ready, I'm going to go ahead and start stitching. This design, I'm doing this one right here. So the first thing it's going to do, it's going to stitch all the leaves. Then I'm going to change the thread. It's going to stitch all the flowers. Then I'm going to come back and we're going to line up the next repeat. And that's where I'm going to show you how easy it is to line it up using Durkee's Easy Name Frame. All right, we'll let that stitch and I'll try to answer some questions. I see one. Are the pictures of finished designs showing how to use these name tags? I'm not real sure what that means. Can you be a little more specific, Carol? The designs that I'm using are from my hand sketch floral borders collection. And all I'm doing is taking one of the borders, stitching it, and then I'm going to take this exact same border, line it up here at the top, stitch it again, do the same thing again until, I have around 60 inches of embroidered area. I use 60 inches to create my dog leash, and I use 60 inches to create my adjustable purse straps. If you're asking about pictures of finished designs from that collection, you can see them in the collection when you open it up, if you have a viewer to view them. Let's kind of go back and look over some of the samples again. All right, I'm just using a 7511 needle, and you noticed, let's go back to the machine. There is no stabilizer. Okay, I'm not using stabilizer. The leaf part is done. So now I'm going to quickly change my thread and I'm going to stitch the flowers. After the flowers stitch, that's when we're going to line up the next repeat. So, you don't have to use this collection of mine. It's just that they are so perfect to use. You can use any, designs. You can stitch any designs you want, okay? Just make sure they are not really dense type of designs. Otherwise, it's going to distort your ribbon. And I saw that some people asked about, what was the other question there was? Okay, so this frame, let me grab the one for the multi-needle here. The frame is from Durkee Hoops. This is Durkee Hoops Easy Name Frame. Right now, Brent only has the frames for brother or baby lock machines that have a 5x7 hoop capability. You can have, your machine can stitch something bigger, but you can't use these on a 4x4 machine. This is for the multi-needle. The one I have on the machine is for, my flatbed home needle. And again, it comes with 2 sets of guides. These are the ones that have the 1 inch and 1 1/4 inch, like I'll call them hook guides. And then they both come with, they grab these guides. They both come with these guides that have other markings on them. And Brent, even look, he puts left and right on them. So there's no way you can mix anything up or get anything wrong. And you go to durkeehoops.com to purchase the frames, and you use the discount code Reen, Reen, and you're going to get a savings off of it. And I'm just going to kind of scroll to see other questions. And Dolores, you like my sweatshirt? I absolutely love my sweatshirt. Let me move back and show you. So last week, I was at Amy Bachman's Sewing Quilt doing an in-person event. Amy has these sweatshirts with her logo on them. You can see it says Amy Sews down here. I love it. I had to buy one. It's nice. It's warm. I love me a good hoodie. I'll tell you that. So I had to buy one. So these are from Amy Bachman Sew and Quilt. So it's done stitching. So let's go back over to the machine. Now, you can do this a couple of different ways. What I have been doing is I'm loosening up all 4 screws and advancing the ribbon. You could take it off the machine, which, you know, I probably should do, or at least bring it down here so you can get a better view of this. Okay, so you can see, I don't know, maybe I need to come over to the table so you guys can really see this well. All right, let me bring it over here. Should probably get rid of all this stuff. All right, so here's the first repeat that's stitched. Isn't that pretty? So to do the next repeat, I'm going to loosen this bolt. I don't have to take them off. I'm just loosening them up. And I'm going to just basically pull my ribbon and advance it through the hoop. Now, again, I don't want to get really close to this bar. I need to leave myself, you know, some room here. So what's going to happen is, you know, this is basically my next repeat. You can line it up again with a template. So I'm lining up this end of this flower down here. It has like a tiny bit of a stem. I can line it up like this, tape it down, use my needle to find the center and embroider the next repeat. Or I can use my camera, which that's what I'm going to do. But now that I've advanced the name tape, your webbing, whatever you're using, again, you want to make sure that it is straight in this guide. You want to make sure that the guide and the bar here, the blue part, are nice and even. Get everything straight. And then I like to kind of tighten these up again. Get them, you know, secure. And then again, you want to make sure that your ribbon is taut, okay? Don't leave it in here loose like this. Make sure that it is taut and that it is in this guide up here at the top. Again, you want the guide and the bar, the blue part of the bar, to be all even. And then I'm going to start to tighten down the nuts here on the end. And then I'm ready now to stitch my next repeat. I have to line it up and down. Okay, now I should not have to go side to side and line anything up. It's just lining it up and down on my machine. And the machine I'm using is a Brother Luminaire. It does not matter what machine you use with the frame, as long as it is either Brother or Baby Lock and can use a 5x7 hoop. You know, Britt may be coming out with, you know, these frames for other brands of machines. Most of the time, when something like this comes out, you know, the person starts with one, you know, model, one brand of machine, and, you know, then they move on to the other brands. So now I do have to get my green thread back in my machine. So let me do that real quick. And we're going to line up the next repeat. So you can see, you know, it's pretty easy, isn't it? And I think it's cool that you don't have to use stabilizer. Again, I have no stabilizer here. Let me thread my needle. All right, now let's, let me get my foot raised up. And I'm turning on my projector on my machine. And what I want to do is I want to come down to the end of the design. Let me move up a little bit. And if you can see this, let me grab something to point with. And if you can see this, my design being projected on here, you can see that it needs to be moved up. Here are my leaves. My leaves are down here in this flower right now. What size design can you use in the hoop? Again, this is a 5x7 design. I'm sorry, 5x7 frame. However, you do not want to go the full 7 inches. When I create these border designs here, really 6.5 is the absolute maximum, because as you are going to see here, I need wiggle room because I have to move this design up or I got to move it down to line up this new repeat with the first one. So, I would say if you're just going to start with the hoop or this frame, don't make your designs larger than 6 inches. Keep with 6 inches. Okay, I see another question. Kim, since you have the projector or camera, can you stitch the whole length in green and go back and line up the flowers? To me, that would be double the trouble. I would rather stitch, my green and my blue, all, get this first repeat done, move on to the next one. Otherwise, I have to, go all the green, then I got to come back and do each and every repeat of the flowers. So this is actually probably the easiest way to do it. Okay, so again, I need to move my design up and line up the bottom of that leaf stem with the very top of the flower. And I know it's hard for you guys to see it, but I can see it. And you know what? I look like I'm right on it. And let's see. So another thing that I like to do to make sure that I am exactly where I want to be, we can do this. I advance the design 1 stitch. So now this is where it's going to start stitching. Most of the time I don't thread my needle yet. And I drop the needle and I look to see exactly where I am at. So the needle is down and it appears to be, it's harder to see on this black, but it is right at the very top of that flower where I want it to be. If it was not in the exact spot that I wanted it to be, I would raise my needle up and go back to, my arrows and adjust it, a little bit more. But to me, this looks good. I'm going to thread my needle and I'm going to go and I'm checking this. You know what? I really think I could have came down one. With this camera in front of me, I don't, I mean, you would not be able to tell, but I think I want to come down one more stitch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back, get back to where I can edit. I'm going to be moving this and I'm going to bring it down one time. And now I'm going to stitch. So you can get picky if you want. And right now you just saw an example of me getting picky on this. But, it's that easy to line it up. And again, if you wanted to use the templates, you do the exact same thing. What I suggest is doing what I just did, which was once you have it lined up, advance to your first stitch, drop your needle, and you can see exactly where it's going to start stitching. And if you don't have it, exactly where you want it to be, then go back and, adjust a little bit. So now it's going to stitch the green, and then we can go back and we can stitch the blue. And so let's look to see if there are any questions. I see Judy's asking one about for the Baby Lock 6 needle machine. The frames are for brother and Baby Lock, either single needle or multi-needle machines. You can go to durkeehoops.com. The name frames are right there, right the first page, right when you go to his website. And he has it set up so that you can click either on multi-needle or on the single needle flatbed machines. So then go to the multi-needle and look for your machine to be listed. Whoops. Let's see, any other questions while this is stitching? This is almost done. Then I can change the thread, or when I have to, yes, you can do dog leashes. Really anything. Let's just pretend this is a dog leash. Put it in there just like I did and embroider on it. The dog leashes I showed earlier that I made them using 1-inch webbing. If your dog leash is 1¼ inches, then you use the 1¼ inch guide, or you use the other guides that Brent includes that don't have the, let me take these out of the package. They don't have those, what I call the like metal hook guides in them, but they have, markings that one is at one end, one is at the other end, and you use the markings and line it up. So you can do something that is 5 inches wide. But if you did something that was 5 inches wide, you're not making your design 5 inches wide. You're, maybe 4¼ 4½ inches. Because remember, you got to have something on each side. Like if you're making a purse strap, I had to stitch down each side, and you can kind of see my stitching there, I think. So even though this is 1 inch, you don't want your design to be 1 inch wide. You want it to be more like 0.7, 0.75 would be the absolute maximum, because you would only have an 1/8 inch on each side. So let's take a look at what just stitched. And now I would just change my thread and do the blue of the flower and, loosen it up again and line it up again. And that's how I would go. And let me bring it over here to the table for you. And that's how I would go and just continue doing. Keep adding the repeats on it. So let's just say I did the flowers on here. I would loosen it up, the top and the bottom. Now, let me show you this. Let me go back to the machine, because this is how I do it when I'm, sitting here by myself at home. This is how I do it. I don't take the hoop off every time, but some of you may need to, and that is perfectly fine. So we're going to pretend that I stitched the flower part. We're going to pretend I stitched the flower part, and we're going to line up the next one. So I leave the frame on the machine, loosen up the bottom nuts and loosen up the top ones, and advance the ribbon or the strapping or webbing while the frame is still on the machine. The thing you do not want to do is just grab this and pull it, okay? You don't want to be pulling, the arm of your embroidery machine. So what I do is you can either hold the frame and pull it. Make sure you're holding the frame so it's not moving, and pull it. And I'll tell you, if you use wider, or thicker, the cotton webbing, that's a little hard to do. You really have to kind of lift this one up here in the back, and then just kind of pull it and advance it, and then lift this up here in the front and pull it and advance it. And you do the exact same thing. Again, I'm not coming all the way to the edge here. I'm leaving myself at least a good inch. Make sure everything was lined up here. Tighten the screws back up. And then again, I want to make sure that this is nice and taut. I'm not pulling on it. And especially while it's on your machine, you don't want to be pulling really hard, but then just make sure everything is lined up here on this end, that it's nice and taut, and then get these screws tightened down, and then you're ready to go without taking the frame off the machine each time. Just make sure that you do not pull on the, you're not pulling on this while it's attached to the arm of your machine. All right, let's look for some other questions. So with the frame, and I'm going to take it off the machine so we can look at it some more here. So with this, you can go up to 5 inches, something that is 5 inches in width can be put in here because remember, if you watched earlier, it goes underneath the guide, goes underneath this bar across, then it has to have come up and underneath this guide. So, you have the area here. You're not going to put anything wider in here because then your screws are going to be in the way. So 5 inches is, let's see, I guess maybe one of those pageant kind of sashes. I don't know how wide they are, but let's just say it was 5 inches wide. You could get that in there. Let's say they're 8 inches wide. You can't get that in there because, the screws here and here would be in the way. So 5 inches is the maximum you could thread something in here to embroider on. If you embroider on webbing and use the name tape for backing, okay, how I did it, I used the name tape for the front. And the reason I did that is, name tape is going to be more expensive than webbing. So if you want to use name tape, I'd use it for the front and put the nylon webbing on the back. And, that's what I showed you on the dog leashes and on the, let me grab some of this webbing down here. And let me grab one of my dog leashes. So my dog leashes, I use the name tape and I put webbing on the back to hide it. And yes, you just stitch down the long edges on each side. I could make a dog leash out of, my webbing, and I could put more webbing on the back. It really doesn't matter. Like I said earlier, though, if you're making something like a leash or the purse strap, you don't want to use something that's going to be really thick. You want this to be nice and pliable. So if this was a purse strap, I want it to be nice and pliable to go over my shoulder or to come, across my body. Let's see. Here's a question for sashing. Can you coat float stabilizer under the frame as long as it can advance with the sash? So again, I have seen sashes done without stabilizer. The frame is not really made to use stabilizer. If you wanted to use stabilizer, I guess you could float some underneath there. But, I'm trying to think of, you're going to use a lot of stabilizer because more than likely you're going to be embroidering something long. In the case of the projects that I made, if you're just going to put a name on something like a sash or something like that, if you had to, because of the design you were using, use some stabilizer, yes, you could float it underneath there. But all the projects I've done so far, and let me grab that karate belt. Everything that I've done so far, I have not used stabilizer with, and it's turned out perfectly. So, that's kind of something, again, if that's what you want to embroider, you might want to do a little test first. The thing was, when you put your name tape, your ribbon, your webbing in here, again, you want it tight. See, this is kind of tight. It's not loose in there. because you don't want it to move around. And again, you don't want to use a bunch of dense designs because that's just going to pull those edges in and wrinkle them up so that when you're done, your project is not nice and straight like this. It's going to be, a little wonky. Do I tape them together before I sew them? On the projects I didn't have to tape anything. It's just so easy. I use a foot. I'm trying to think of the name of it. I think it's called an edge foot. Anyway, there's like this little metal guide, and I keep the edge right against that guide, and I move my needle over, and I can get an 1/8 inch, want a little bit more, adjust your needle, and I have no problem at all. So sewing things together, I didn't have to use any kind of tape. When I did this out of cork, the purse strap of the cork, and I folded one edge over and folded the other edge over, I just used sewing clips and held it, and it was fine. All right, so there's a bunch of different questions coming in about different things. You know, if Susan, you can try it. I mean, that's not something I've done. If you want to use fabric and back it with something that's going to make it, firmer, I don't see why that wouldn't work. I think that really that would work. You can make a purse strap like that. You would just, let's say you're going to make a purse strap out of fabric. I would back it with SF 101 and cut, your strip. You got to figure out how wide you need your strip to be cut, embroider down the center of it, and then however you particularly fold your straps that you like to do, just make sure your width is enough so that when you fold it, everything is nice and covered. So, you can do things like that. If you got to use stabilizer, you can float it. The whole idea of this basically is not to use any stabilizer, but that's all up to you. What other, basically, the frame is for doing things like webbing, strapping, belts, sashes, um, those type of things. That's why he came out with the frame, and it has these guides in it, and the guides are what is going to hold your strapping, your ribbon in to keep it nice and tight. And everything that I have stitched using this frame has come out perfectly straight. And, I haven't had any problems. I haven't had any buckling. I haven't had anything like that happen. So, okay, to use 1-inch frame. So the name tape that I used, this is 1 inch. It does come in some different colors. They're kind of drab colors because, again, this is like for military uniforms. But this is 1 inch. Again, you can use anything that is up to 5 inches to go through the frame, go through the guides. All right. So, are there any other questions? So, this is Durkee Hoops EZ name frame. Go to durkeehoops.com, and they're going to be right there on the front page of his website. If you buy one or buy anything off his website, use the code REEN, REEN, and you will get a discount. So these are the name frames, are what I'm showing you. He makes other types of frames for machines, but this is like his newest, greatest release that just came out. So if there aren't any other questions, we are going to pick the winner. Okay, I went back and I talked about purchasing the name tape. You do have to Google for it. Again, it's pricey, but look at the the yardage that you get, and then divide it up by the number of straps, etc., that you could make. Yeah, bows. You could definitely do bows. You would want to make your bows though. So if I was making a bow, and let me grab something here. So let's just pretend this is, something I would make a bow out of. It has to be in the frame, like this. You have to have something extending out here and extending out here. So you do your embroidery, take it out of the frame, and then, cut your tails or however you're going to do it. But it would be, if you were making bows, not like a pre-made bow, probably. All right. Yes, this is recorded. You can watch it on Embroidery Garden's Facebook page or on Embroidery Garden's YouTube channel. Remember, if you follow Embroidery Garden's Facebook page or subscribe to the YouTube channel, you will get notified whenever I go live so you don't miss anything. I will probably do a December demo. I'm just not sure when. December is going to be a little bit busy because I've got favorite things coming up and, the holidays are coming up. Claudia, you can do shoelaces. You just get them hooked in there. If you want to do shoelaces, yeah, that's fine. What would you use for making bows? Grosgrain ribbon, probably. Again, though, you want to make sure your designs are light and airy, not really dense. All right, so let's go ahead and let's pick the giveaway. Let me bring up whoops, I got to share the screen first so you guys can see the name. All right, why can I not share it? All right, one second here. Oh, geez.
Reen, I think you have to drop down that other share in order to share a second one. I could be wrong, but that's what I think.
All right, well, you know what? Wait a minute. I think I did something terribly wrong here. So everybody hold on, give me 1 second because I did something wrong. All right, yep, I lost it. So let me set this back up again. All right, everyone get that hashtag garden in because I actually did something wrong and I lost it. Okay, so get hashtag garden in. Even if you already typed it in once, do it again now because I screwed up and I lost it. So we're going to be drawing for a $20 gift card to embroiderygarden.com. Don't forget to follow Embroidery Garden on Facebook, Instagram, and other social media. Remember all the things that I talked about earlier that are upcoming. There's a lot of stuff coming up even before the end of the year here. I'm going to give you a minute here to get that hashtag garden in. Sorry, screwed that one up. Ended up losing it. Yeah, oops. It's one of those days. Hope I don't have any other oops. Some days are like that. All right, that looks like now there's like 112 entries in. Let me make sure I don't mess it up again. And let me share it. Share the screen. Let me grab it. All right, I'm going to share it. There we go. Okay, another just couple of seconds. Get that hashtag garden in if you don't have it, and then we're going to pick the winner. All right, I'm going to draw it. This is for $20 gift card to embroiderygarden.com. And the winner is Marsha. Marsha, send me an email at at support@embroiderygarden.com and I will get the gift card to you. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. Hope that you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. Remember, use the discount code Reen at durkeehoops.com. Get yourself an easy name frame and show me what you make. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.